is the first Vanderbilt coach to be voted Coach of the Year by his peers since 2008. First Vanderbilt coach to win that award outright since 1982. 1982, for those of you looking for tidbits, was my senior year in high school. Clark is the 29th head football coach in the history of Vanderbilt University. He is entering his 5th season at his alma mater, a place where he became a walk-on football player at Vanderbilt, earned 2 degrees, an undergraduate and graduate degrees both in political science from Vanderbilt. He's a Nashville native who began his college experience as a baseball player at Birmingham Southern, leading the club to an NAIA championship his freshman year. As a reminder, not that any of you have forgotten, last year Vanderbilt had its first win over the nation's #1 ranked team in the Associated Press poll, and it is also the first win over an AP top 5 team in Vanderbilt program history. Lee and his wife Allison have 2 sons, Clark III and Jack, and a daughter, Mara. Welcome to the podium, the head coach of the Vanderbilt Commodores, Clark Lee.
All right. First of all, thanks to Commissioner for the introduction.
All right.
It's great to be here in Atlanta, and I wanted to start just by expressing how grateful I am to be here. I think every time I get in front of you guys, and it seems like,
I guess so.
whether it's in Destin or at this event, there's always, a new point of chaos in the world, some drama that we're trying to solve for, and I think it's important just to say that I love my job. I can't imagine a more important time than right now to be a coach, to be responsible for the development of young people, and for me to be able to do that in the SEC, the best conference in the country. It's never been stronger. What a great opportunity, what an incredible challenge. And I love my team. I think that's important team. I love the team I get to coach. We are imperfect. We're a work in progress. There's so much important learning ahead of us, but that's actually the fun part. Being around my team every day brings me energy and it gives me hope, and so I'm grateful. It's easy to be excited about a team that returns as much production as we do, especially considering the retention of our coaching staff. Retention is the product of 2 things. It starts with this shared belief in what's possible for our program, the belief in last year as a beginning and not an arrival. But in the current state of affairs, in the current landscape of college football, you're not talking about retaining without resources. And so I'm deeply grateful to Chancellor Diermeyer and Candace Lee for having the courage and vision to go beyond historical limits that have held our program back in the past, and to champion a new era of growth and support. Their leadership to go further is what allows for us to reach for more. And, we have so much important work ahead of us to get this program to a point of sustainability. But I couldn't imagine better partners for the journey, and without them, there is no program. And so a thank you to them. Our hopes for this team reflect the strength in leadership from our players. In the end, this is a player's game. It's their game. And as a coach, you're privileged to serve in a supporting role. But they are the heroes of this story. And traveling with me today, I've got 3 players that will be important parts of our success this fall. Martel Height, who is from Rome, Georgia. It's his 3rd year in our program, and he'll be featured in all 3 phases this fall. Martel's a guy that has established himself as a playmaker on the field. His growth mirrors our program's growth, and I'm excited for you to get to know him today. He's a special player, but more importantly, a special person. Randon Fontenette is in his second year in our program. Randon had a productive year last season. He stepped up in critical moments and made season-defining plays for us on defense. He's improved in all areas this offseason, but most importantly, he's modeled consistency in his work and really exhibited some leadership qualities that we'll rely upon this fall. And then finally, Diego Pavia. And I don't think there's anything left to be written about Diego Pavia. I mean, he's had such a profound impact on all aspects of our program. He is an energy source for Vanderbilt University, for the Nashville community, and I think for college football fans everywhere. He's the ultimate competitor, and I think this fall is a great opportunity for him to cement his legacy with Vanderbilt football.
Last year,
So three guys
Vanderbilt had a great season last year, 7-6.
I'm excited for them.
3-5. That should be enough for the whole team to make it to a bowl game last year, but that was pretty good. But the season before,
2 years ago, I stood before you.
I don't know, but I know season ago they done it good. Now,
We went backward before we could move forward. Progress.
and I know Tennessee will take on Georgia on the 13th, but this time,
I have to convince
I'd
you
say
that this
Georgia,
is
they
how
will,
it is to win.
I'd say, take on Georgia at the Neyland Stadium and
In those games. So with this in mind, we're as close to 2-10 as we are to 10-2. This is our reality. As we strengthen, so too does our league.
but I can tell you,
There is no easy path, so we can't just copy and
but at least,
paste
on the
the process from a
ground,
year ago and expect to advance.
it's harder for me to get on the other
Pace
side.
is to remain the same. To remain the same is to abandon the mission, and our mission is winning.
So that means I gotta be there at
For us, this
8:30 a.m.
means
early in the morning.
embracing a process of continuous improvement that leads to us winning every game on our schedule. We believe we have what it takes to plan to January, but we have to support our belief with a disciplined focus in the present. The burden of our goals is the pressure of knowing we can't afford to have an off night. We can't afford to have a lackluster effort or an unfocused snap. All this takes a mature team, and it takes a team devoted to winning. The success we hope for will not be waiting for us. We have to chase progress every day. Chasing progress starts with deepening our understanding of who we are and internalizing our approach to winning. Vanderbilt football is a chip on the shoulder operation. It's young. It's home to a young, hungry, scrappy team that begins each day with something to prove. We want to make life miserable for the teams that we play against because of how we play the game. The energy we bring every time we step on the field. This is what makes us special. Not our buildings or banners. It's our people, our collective heartbeat. Relatedness is our edge. We must pay attention to the attitude of the team. We must cultivate the right mindset. And we got to silence any narrative that suggests an arrival or an assurance of progress. Anything that steals our attention from the present will keep us from playing to our identity and executing our strategy every time out. And when we fail to do those things, we leave the mission to chance. Chasing progress extends to measurable ways that we can play better football. We're a team that cannot afford to beat ourselves, so we have to take pride in our performance in the areas that we control. This includes pre-snap and post-whistle penalties, errors of execution. These self-imposed negatives combine with possession of the ball to be the foundation of winning football at Vanderbilt. Offensively, I'm thrilled to have Tim Beck return as offensive coordinator in his second season leading the offense. Playing better football is about finding creative ways to generate explosive plays and limiting 3-and-out possessions that undermine our strategy. Defensively, Steve Gregory has assumed the role as defensive coordinator. Steve is a trusted partner, and his assuming that role gives me the opportunity to be a better head coach, while also collaborating seamlessly with our defensive staff and our defensive players every day. For us on defense, better football exists in improving third down performance and generating more turnovers, both of which will allow our offense to possess the ball for more time. And then there's better football to be played on special teams, led by Jeff Lepak for the second year. This is a critical margin for us to win. It's the bedrock of our complementary style of play, and any path into the postseason will be cut by the strength of our performance in this phase. Finally, we're chasing progress by focusing on ways to maintain high performance through a long and challenging season. We learned last year to win in November that we have to be better prepared mentally, physically, and emotionally. This starts with our approach to training and extends to our dedication outside the building. As a team, we must become harder to break. In this effort, we've called our players into a deeper commitment, asking that they allow the mission to shape all their choices, habits, and behaviors. Additionally, we bolstered depth on both sides of the line of scrimmage, because in the SEC, to win in November, you have to win up front. Ultimately, winning football is our focus. It sets the course for everything we do as a program, and chasing progress best positions us to reach mission success. What's simple to explain certainly will challenge us to our very core over the next 6 months. As we set our sights for more, we will not compromise on our commitment to develop the whole person. Holistic development is an important part of our program's DNA. This is about teaching responsibility, accountability, and shared ownership. It's actualizing discipline, respect, and spirit in everything we do, knowing that there is no separation between the values that define us as people and those that will define our team competition. We must set boundaries and ask our coaches, players, and staff to live into program standards every day, to journey beyond safety and familiarity to where the discomfort of change and growth await. Not everyone is cut out for this journey, but those who find success along the way recognize that the program's demands are in service to their personal success as well as team success. And in our environment, we do not place limitations on what the individual can achieve. We're proud of the fact that we've had 7 consecutive semesters of a team GPA over 3.0. And for the first time since 1989, we've had back-to-back seasons with an academic All-American. Our performance off the field strengthens our performance on it, just as the demands of the mission become the anvil upon which personal characters form. It all goes hand in hand with our people first, mission always approach, and our belief that better people make a better team. This fall is a great opportunity for our program to show that we're 1 year closer to the vision we had when we started 4 years ago. With that in mind, the opportunity is not the outcome, and the burden of proof is on us. But I believe the real challenge exists in not holding on to it too tight. We have to find a way to have a little fun with it, to let it all breathe a little bit. Let's focus in the present. Let's focus on the work that needs to be done. Let's be really intentional about building meaningful connections. And in doing so, let's enjoy the journey together. We know it's going to deliver the full catastrophe. That's the point. Let's embrace it. Let's learn and grow through it. But most importantly, let's experience the thrill of knowing that we have something at stake at Vanderbilt, that we built something worth fighting for. I want to close by honoring the late Mike Wright Sr., a longtime member of the Atlanta community who passed in May at the age of 49. Big Mike's 2 sons, Mike Jr. and Taco, are former members of our program, and in this way, his family is our family. In fact, the last time this event was in Atlanta, I had Mike Jr. with me representing our program as quarterback. As I return here, I carry the Wright family on my heart. We're also grieving the loss of Simeon Boulware's brother, Caleb, who lost his battle with cancer in June. Caleb recently graduated from Decula High School, class of 2025. He was a dedicated member of the football team there. We're heartbroken for Simeon and the Boulware family and continue to keep them in our prayers. Thank you.
Thank you, Coach Lee. If you have a question, we'll go ahead and take those now. If you raise your hand, Emma, Annie, and Nathan will get a microphone to you. And if you'll stand and give them your name and affiliation, we will Start here in the front row.
Good afternoon, Coach. My name is John Burrows with On Texas Football. Obviously, Vanderbilt's one of the top academic universities, not just in the SEC, but in the country. How much of a role does that play in your pitch to recruits, and does it seem to matter to them as much now in the NIL era as it used to?
Well, I appreciate, first of all, I appreciate the recruiting plug. That's awesome. We're very proud of it. It matters. It matters. Does it move the needle right now as much as it did, 3 years ago? No, but I think we'll come back to it. I think what we're doing right now is there's this data set that's forming around the NIL era and what's driven decisions, and we're going to know a lot more about what this environment has produced in terms of people that are ready for the responsibilities in their 20s, 30s, 40s, and on. I think once we know more about that data set, the knowledge base of how important that education is, and I think specifically the environment, the program environment, I think we're going to see a return to significance of things that go beyond just dollar signs. So, the landscape shifted. Certainly, it's not nearly the impact that it used to be, and obviously that varies based on the recruit. I do think, just like all things, what flashes now doesn't always sustain. There will be a return to kind of those bedrock features that actually impact life over the long term. You're welcome.
Coach, we'll go in the center aisle in front of me.
Robert Sesson, the Bryan College Station Eagle. Coach, what did Stowers do last year to have the season he did, and what do you expect from him this year?
Well, Eli, for anyone who knows him, first of all, he could easily be here representing our program. He's a stand-up human, first and foremost. His faith is so important to him. He's a spiritual leader in our locker room. He's got such a maturity about his process and what he's looking for. That complements, physical skills that put him among the best of the best. So he's a good athlete. He's smart. Obviously, he's a former quarterback. He's lined up as the Wildcat. He's played quarterback in this system. Obviously, we flex him out as a receiver. We try to find matchups with him. He's a trusted pair of hands for Diego, and I think his choice to return is also a testament to where we are as a program. 2021, 2022 were defined by us losing players, drafted players to other programs, and losing free agent graded players to the NFL. I think our willingness in the last couple of years to really step up from an NIL standpoint and put the infrastructure in place to be competitive in a revenue sharing era allows us to bring a guy like Eli back. And again, he could have very well been an early round draft pick this past season. He comes back to obviously help our program go after more, but he gets one more year in a tight end room and to physically develop as a tight end, which is a dramatically different course than where he started his career as a quarterback. So obviously it's mutually beneficial. I'm really proud to have him back, and again, I think that's a great statement for Vanderbilt too.
Coach, we'll go right over here to our left on the front row.
Hey, Coach, Chris Phillips, SEC Unfiltered. Obviously, defense is your bread and butter. You have a ton of returning experience coming back this fall. Just talk about what you like about this defense. You guys obviously made a lot of positive strides last year and led to a lot of wins.
Well, the return of production, the return of people, I think, too, the thing even with the coordinator role change, the system doesn't change. We're going to evolve it just like everyone evolves, but these guys know the language. They know the expectations day in, day out, and this time last year, we were still trying to form it all, and through fall camp, I can remember a couple practices where, there was some real conflict that we had to go through to get to the point where we were lining up and playing in structure. Defense is about 11 guys working together. That's what it is. One person out of position and you have an explosive touchdown. So we're past those growing pains. Obviously, we'll have some new players on our field, but on the whole, the core of our defense returns, and we need to play better on that side of the ball for our team to reach the goals that we have for the season. And that means, like I said earlier, that we're focused on improving on third down. You know, our offense last year took care of the ball at a rate that put us, I think, number one in the country in giveaways. And that allowed us to have a really good turnover margin. And we need to give them some room for error by creating more turnovers too. Those things will be really important, but we have the people to do it. We have the scheme to do it. We have a second year in a system which allows for everything to click in place and go a little faster. And so, these guys are excited about what's ahead of them. And I think we've had a good off season, and we're positioned to make another jump.
Coach will stay in the section in front of me about 3/4 of the way back.
Thanks. Hi, Coach. Bruce Marshall from WHBQ in Memphis. I have to ask you about Diego Pavia. He reminds me of Joe Cap.
We got 20 minutes to 4.
Rally the team the way he plays. And I saw this in New Mexico State, too, and I know you did for sure, and Coach Beck and Coach Kill. But that bravado that he's got, I think it's amazing. I don't think he missed any games in New Mexico State either. I think he played, I don't think he got hurt. But that style, taking on these big defenders, I mean, it's like Bobby Chacon, the boxer. Eventually, you take too many hits. Do you talk to him about self-preservation, or is that just part of the Diego package? Let him do his thing, and you just got to let it ride.
I got to ask you, a guy from Memphis and a Nevada hat, that is different.
Yeah, go Wolfpack.
I'll tell you, that's a tip to Chris Klanakis, who's our O-line coach, who was part of the origination of the pistol offense. And if you ever want to hear about football history, take a trip to Coach K's office, and he'll talk to you about plays. He can single out plays from 1982. I was 1 year old. Look, Diego, we don't talk about self-preservation, but we need to build ways in our system that do protect him. And I see that more as establishing a run game through the tailback. You know, we need him to take over the game at some point, and the way he plays is the way he plays. We can build around him to protect him a little bit and not give him the option to pull the ball. If we can do a better job of moving people at the point of attack in our offensive line. We believe in our running backs. I think we have a good group of running backs that can become some of the best in the conference. There's no productive conversation that comes, and really, there's no winning conversation that comes between me and Diego where I'm talking about, taking care of himself in the competitive moment. He needs to play to his personality. We will protect him through our design. As far as his just mentality and what he means to the team, these guys, I don't need Diego to be anything other than who he is. Now, we have conversations about how in his role, there are ways from an external standpoint that he can be totally supportive of our mission, and there are ways sometimes where we cross lines that kind of undercuts the mission. And so this is a guy that's going to have a great finish to his career. He's going to have a great NFL career, and he's going to be a coach someday. He will have a microphone in front of him for the rest of his life, and the world needs him to. I mean, he's that kind of person. He needs to be himself. He needs to understand totally how to support the mission. And when he is himself, it gives everyone in that locker room license to be themselves. There's one Diego Pavia, but we are a better team when every individual on this team brings their unique personality, brings their creative energy, and allows it to amplify in performance. And I think Diego's paved the way for that. And again, I'm just grateful to have him for another year and just spend some more time with him.
Which will go to the back, to the right side of the room.
Hey, Coach, I know you just
Noah Gross, KXN, and Austin. I know you just mentioned your running back room. You believe in them a lot. What about
Wherever I
Cedric
go through, it's
specifically?
hard for
Kind of the
me
impact
to,
he has on your program, and maybe how he fits so well with Diego.
I think first of all, I appreciate the question, and these questions about players from Texas, first of all, a testament to the quality of football played in Texas, also how important that state's been to us in building our program. Seti's a player that he had to play early for us. And it's hard, especially in our league as a running back. I mean, it's hard to grind out yards in the SEC. And we've been developing in the offensive line too. But from the very first time we saw him carry the ball on our campus, we knew that he had physical traits, mental traits. He's got vision and balance, and he's strong through the middle of his body. He carries enough weight to be powerful. And he's athletic enough to hurdle a defender. I mean, he's shown all these things. And what's happened over the last couple seasons is you starting to see the game slow down for him. We've improved in our front, and we believe there's opportunities for him and the rest of the running backs to establish themselves as featured players in our league. But I'm proud of Seti. He's someone that I've always enjoyed. I recruited he and his family into our program, and so there's a baseline relationship there. But I think some of our best moments have been opportunities for me to challenge him in front of the team or challenge him in a one-on-one setting where he's always responded. And I'm happy for him, and I'm looking forward to watching him build on all the progress he's made this fall.
And we have time for a couple more. We'll go all the way to the back in the section in front of me.
Coach Rob Brown, SEC Sideline Sports Network. Last year in Dallas, you said every player in the football building had signed up for what y'all believed in culture-wise. First test, Virginia Tech game, y'all were winning, then you weren't. A lot of people, here they go again. Do you subscribe to the you can't have a new reality with old mentality? You are a gentleman scholar from NBA. It got out to you.
Thank you.
I'm a Christian Brothers guy, but
Okay.
Y'all started winning those games, and the Texas one was close. Missouri was close. What's the carryover for this year?
Well, there's proof of concept. I mean, you don't get to proof of concept without having belief. Our team had belief. I think I don't want to use the word expectation, but these guys know how to win. Listen, there were games last year where we lost, and we proved that we weren't ready to play to a level of consistency that would allow us to go further in our season. But that Virginia Tech game was important for all the reasons you mentioned, and yet it was exciting, but from my vantage point, it was a little too exciting. I could have done without the ways we needed it, because it allowed us to purge our system to actually step into action, right? What happens when you aren't mentally capable or mentally aligned to winning is in those moments you start trying to predict or project where the game's going rather than just stepping into action that needs to happen to take it where you want it to go. And I learned pretty quickly at Vanderbilt just how damaged we were mentally. And I would say that's probably been the hardest part of this build is draining the program of that attitude. Also shifting the ancillary aspects of our program from a losing approach to a winning approach. I mean, that's taken time. But I think at this point, we can confidently say, hey, our expectation is to win. We know that winning isn't easy. We know that there are going to be ups and downs. The way we impact the outcome is to focus in the moment. And we have proof of concept that when we did those things a year ago, we were able to come out on top.
Okay, we'll take one final question right here in the center aisle.
Hey Coach, Emily Grace McWhorter from the Next Round. From year one coaching at Vanderbilt until now, how have you had to evolve personally to allow for the success that we're seeing?
How much time do we have? We got an hour and a half here. I think I think it's easy to look back and judge you know, who I was 4 years ago, what I was doing, what I didn't know about the job and all it entailed. But I actually think, though I've learned a lot and I've grown a lot, I think that it happened exactly as it needed to. And there were things that I was hard charging about. I mean, separating from our past, again, beating back this mentality that had forever stained the program. And I was obsessed with it. And part of my development is learning how to let that go and really just focusing on, hey, what is the type of head coach I want to be and what is the kind of team I want to have? But I also will tell you that some of the hardest moments in this role, and I don't need to go through them one by one, but you think about that first year in my first ever game at Vanderbilt, we played East Tennessee State and got beat. And I mean, we got beat. And I wasn't prepared for that. There was no version of this in my mind that I had that as the starting point. And I hope that's relatable, because I think that's a lot of the best journeys start in ways that we don't think that they're going to start. I think about the Georgia game that season, and you know, at the end of the first quarter, it was 35-0, and I didn't think our team was competing. We weren't trying. I mean, that's hard to see. I remember the sun beating down that afternoon, and it's like you get put in this position where here's your choice. Are you going to coach the team, or are you going to blame the team? That's what you have to choose. And I wish for everyone to experience that in life, because that's when you define who you are as a person. Well, you get on the knee, coach the team, and got it 35-0 in the first quarter, 62-0. It could have been a lot worse, you know? And so I think all of that was beating back my ego, and really it was a way of me learning that it's not about me, that ultimately I'm here in service of something, and also you know, that without that, you know, I don't know that I could appreciate these breakthrough moments that we're having now. It all fits together, so you can't only take the good and you know, throw away the bad. It's like, that's when I say full catastrophe, that's what I mean. So I appreciate the question. Obviously, I'm spending time on it. I think my growth has been both the awareness that I'm not good enough to do it on my own, the beating back of my own ego so that I can be in better service of our team, and learning how to celebrate the breakthrough moments, because for as good as you can feel in one day, you know, there's an equal and opposite to that. We've done enough learning. I think our team would agree that we're ready to move past that. Yeah, it's been a great journey for me, and it makes me excited for the growth that awaits me moving forward. Thanks for that question.
Coach Lee, thank you for this time.
Thanks.
All right, great stuff from Clark Lea. As always, we will break down what we just heard as Vanderbilt inches closer to 2025.
We'll be right back on the other side.